Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Time Travel. Now in today's episode, we're going to be traveling back to the year 2010 and taking a look at the Logitech Revue. Now, if you guys missed my retrospective on Google TV, you can go check that out up in the cards, and I'd recommend doing that if you want to get a full backstory on Google TV. Google TV, if you weren't aware, we're not talking about the new Google TV that was launched back in September of this year. This was a smart TV platform that Google launched back in 2010, and they partnered up with Sony and Logitech to create TVs, and in Logitech's case, a set-top box-like device that would be used, that would run Google TV and that you could use to browse the web, stream videos and stream movies, and just do, a lot of web-based stuff with. And I started taking a look at Google TV when I acquired the Sony Internet TV in a previous episode of Thrift Store Finds. And I found that at a thrift store, and I knew what it was when I saw it, and I was like, this would be super cool to have. And that was Sony's box. And Sony also had, they made like a couple of actual TVs that already had Google TV installed. Logitech only made a set-top box, and that's what we have here. This right here was a viewer donation by David out in Virginia Beach. I've done a couple of, actually he sent me 2 packages which I unboxed in 2 previous videos, and this was in one of them. And huge thank you to you, David, once again for sending this out. This was unexpected. I actually did not know that he was sending this, and when I saw it, I was like thinking about possibly maybe getting this. It was kind of in the back of my head, like maybe I should get the Logitech Revue like on eBay or somewhere, or Newegg still sells this for some reason. I mentioned that in the retrospective. You can still buy this new from them like 10 years after it was launched. And Google TV, if you never heard of it, it's because this platform failed. It completely flopped, and in 2014 or 2015, Google replaced it with Android TV, which is still around today. So if you were to go out in 2010 and shop for a Google TV device and you ended up picking up the Logitech Revue, this is what you would get. We're going to be unboxing it, exploring it, seeing how it compares to the Sony Internet TV, and let's just jump right into it. So this device retailed for $249 when it launched, which is pretty expensive, but this was first-gen hardware, so you got to keep that in mind. The Sony device sold for $50 more for $299, and this one right here, interestingly enough, comes with a keyboard as opposed to like a remote. The Sony Internet TV came with a remote that was kind of like a game controller that had like a keyboard you could use your thumbs to press. This right here came with like the way you controlled it was with a keyboard with a trackpad, which honestly I didn't really think would work very well. Maybe that's one of the reasons why it failed, who knows. So here's what the side of it looks like. If you can think it, you can watch it. There you go. And here's the back. So obviously the interface is going to be the same across all these devices. It's just the device itself is manufactured by Logitech, and you've got a different controller, as I said, or a different way to interact with it. So this is going to be telling you about Google TV, what you can do with it. It had a large focus on browsing the web because Google Chrome was included in this. That was like one of the major apps. So yeah, you could just like browse the web. There were some limitations though. There were some companies that were blocking access from Google TV devices, which I thought was kind of stupid, but they did it anyway. And so you were kind of limited in accessing certain streaming websites. This right here is the keyboard, so we'll take this out. I've never actually seen one of these in person before. So yeah, it's basically like, I mean, here's the keyboard we use for the 98 PC. Let me bring this over here. So here's like a full-size keyboard, right? And here's how it compares. So we'll just set this down, and here's how it compares. So it's definitely smaller, and it's got a trackpad integrated into it, which you can use to move the cursor around, because you could navigate using these buttons here, and these are, you can kind of see some similarities to Android here, like you got your home button, there's a back button. The software that this runs was based off of Android. I believe it was like a version of Honeycomb, so you could interact with it like using these buttons here, but they had a like you could use a mouse cursor, even on the main menus, which is not really designed to use a mouse cursor with. But this was obviously for just browsing the web. Obviously, that's going to be where using a mouse pointer makes sense. So you've got a trackpad, you've got your buttons here, and yeah, it's a pretty decent keyboard. You've got a search button down here in place of like where a Windows key would be. You've got function keys, and you would hold this. You've got A, B, C, D. I guess these are buttons that you can customize. You've got menu, info, zoom out and zoom in. You've got, oh, you can change your input up here. This is how you would turn it on, just like on a TV remote. I mean, you see, like, I don't really think this would really work as like a TV remote, but this is what you can use to turn on your TV, like when you program it to your TV. And then you've got buttons over here for like your TV guide, your DVR. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it just is kind of awkward to me, but that's what they went with. You could purchase a Logitech had like another controller. It was sold separately, but it was kind of similar to the Sony one in that it was a remote. So we'll take this out here, and right here is the instruction manual, or it says, well, it says enjoy on it. I assume this is the instruction manual. And yeah, so you've got your Logitech important information. You've got your, this is probably going to be the manual here. It tells you what's included. So obviously this was called the Logitech Revue Companion Box. Basically what you would do, the way Google TV devices worked, that were not already integrated into a TV like the Sony ones that were sold, what you would do is plug your satellite box or your cable box into the HDMI in on here, and then you would plug the other HDMI cable that runs to your TV into HDMI out. So that way you could use the Google TV interface to watch regular TV, but then also like browse the web and do all of the other stuff. It's basically like a device that turns your dumb TV into a smart TV. So yeah, that's how you would use it. So we'll just set this aside. I'm just gonna put this stuff back in here, and we'll take a look at the device itself. I gotta say, this thing is much smaller and much lighter than the Sony Internet TV box that I have, and this has an Intel Atom inside too. The neat thing about these is this is just like the first gen Apple TV. These were not ARM-based devices. These were x86-based devices. So they had Intel processors inside. The Sony TV box, I'm just going to probably call it the Sony TV box, had like a micro ATX motherboard in it, I want to say. Like it was essentially like a full desktop computer. This one here seems to be way lighter. Your ports on the back, HDMI in, USB, all that good stuff. So in here you've got your HDMI cable. You've got your power cable, or half of it. Here's the part that plugs into the wall. Your power brick, right here, by Asian Power Devices. Let's set that aside. And this right here is, this is one of your IR sensors. So if you wanted to use this, there it is. So we'll set that aside, and I believe that is everything. There's a, oh, what is this? This little, oh, this was probably like the tab that was in the, on-off switch. And so what I'm going to do, guys, is we're going to get the Sony Internet TV, and we're going to see how these compare. Alrighty, guys, so here is the Sony Internet TV box in all of its glory, and here is the Logitech Revue. So yeah, like I said, much, much smaller. Now, granted, the Sony device has a Blu-ray disc player inside. You can see that from the front here. It says Blu-ray on the top. And there it is. And it is, I mean, it takes up like essentially this entire side of it. And this thing's also much heavier. This thing probably weighs like, I don't know, 2 to 3 pounds. This thing doesn't even weigh a pound, honestly. So yeah, it is much, much smaller. So honestly, if you were going for size and you wanted something that was just really compact, I'd say the Logitech one. This was also cheaper, but you were getting a Blu-ray disc player with the Sony one, so if that mattered to you, yeah, you might want to take that into consideration. But this one was $50 more. This was $299, this was $249. But not even a year after this thing launched, they dropped the price to $99 because they had so many of them that didn't sell. And yeah, that's pretty bad that they did it like not even a year after this was launched. They just had so many unsold units that they just, yeah, dropped the price pretty significantly. And $99 is the price that this is on Newegg like today. And they're selling it or someone that they're partnered with is selling it, because you can go there and like buy it. It didn't take long. I think in 2014 is when these were discontinued. Logitech, there was a second gen like wave of devices. Logitech did not release any more Google TV stuff because I guess they just were like, well, this one didn't sell at all, so we're not going to bother. Sony, I believe, did. I believe Sony made some second-gen devices. There were some other manufacturers like LG that partnered as well, but eventually Google just killed the entire thing off, and it was replaced with Android TV, like I said. So yeah, that's your little history lesson on Google TV. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the software now. Obviously, it's not going to differ much, if at all, from what's on the Sony device, but we're going to plug this thing in and yeah, see what it's all about. Alright everybody, so here we are. We've got the Logitech Revue hooked up to my TV here, and I put some batteries in the keyboard. As you can see, it's right here. It takes two AA batteries, and I'm just going to use the buttons on the right side to go through these menus here. So this first thing that came up when it turned on, it just played a little boot up animation. The only thing different was there was Logitech branding. Obviously the Sony one's going to have Sony branding, but it still said Google TV, had the same logo and all of that. But now we get to this screen where it says no TV source, and it lets you know that your Logitech Revue is not connected to a cable box or any TV source. Now this is obvious because we don't have anything plugged into the HDMI in port on the back of the Logitech Revue. Now this didn't happen on the Sony Internet TV box that I took a look at in that previous video. Maybe this just occurred this time because there was a device plugged into it before. I wouldn't think this is a Logitech specific thing, but we're just going to say cancel because obviously we don't have a TV source to plug into it. And obviously we're going to get the same menu interface here. This is what I was talking about, where this is a Google TV device. It's going to have the same interface that you guys saw in that video. But it looks like that David does have a couple of applications. Plex. Okay, so we do have a couple of Logitech applications. We've got Logitech Help, Logitech Media Player, Logitech Revue Accessibility, I'm going to guess, Accessories, Logitech Vid HD, and Napster. Now, this is not the Napster that you're thinking of. They didn't make an application for Google TV. This was a, after Napster, the first company essentially went under. The brand name was acquired by Roxio, and then it became a music store, actually, which I actually didn't know. Now it's a streaming service. You can go to Napster.com, and it is a music streaming service. They've got a service called Napster Premiere, and yeah, it's like every other music company's doing these days. So it's kind of funny to think that like this company that started out as a peer-to-peer like file sharing application that was used primarily to share music without buying it is now a legitimate music streaming service. This might be a really cool topic to do a whole video on. Let me guys know if you want to see that. Vid HD, I want to say this came with my webcam, because I got a Logitech webcam like years ago, probably back in like 2008, 2009, maybe 2010. And I believe it came with a application that was called Vid HD. So this, you could do video calling. You have to plug in your Logitech TV cam, which was a whole nother accessory. Alright, so I just put the thing on my home network, and yes, if you're wondering, I have been using the arrow keys. I just got the keyboard upside down here because of the way I've got the camera positioned. Yes, I am using the arrow keys to navigate throughout these menus here, but I can use the trackpad to move the mouse cursor around, and this is what I was talking about in the retrospective video. You can use this mouse pointer across the system, even on the menus, which it doesn't really make sense to use them here, but you can use them and click on applications just like you would on a desktop or laptop computer. We're going to go back to the menu here, and we're going to go check out the Logitech Revue accessories. So this is going to load. For some reason, did it not load? Hit enter here. So apparently this web page is just down. It's giving a SSL version or cipher mismatch. Is it, okay, maybe we can just get rid of the HTTPS. Let's just get rid of that. No, it's still not going to do anything. I mean, we are on the network. Like, I can go to google.com and, You know, here we are. And it's going to pull up the mobile search results page because this is an older version of Chrome. I wonder what help is. Is this like its own application, or is this, it's just going to open a website? So these are just like hyperlinks essentially. Let's try this one here. Okay, media player. This looks like it would be, okay, so this, oh, okay. So my guess is this is a like media player where you could plug in a USB drive, maybe with movies. Certainly music would be my guess. But yeah, movies and TV shows that you might have on a USB drive would make sense. This is a TV after all. In fact, let's just try it out. I'm gonna get a USB drive with a video of mine on it and we'll see if it works. So my guess is this device was the previous device that was plugged in before David sent it to me. So we're gonna hit select another source. And this is formatted to the FAT32 file system, so I would think it would work with this totally fine. Please check your source is powered on and connected to the network. Okay, so maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe this is a network player. I thought when it said USB, I thought that it could just play things off of a USB stick, because that would be really great. You can install Logitech Media Server software. Okay, so this is so you have to have a Logitech Media Server set up on as it says, a Windows, Mac OS, or Linux computer to use this. So it has nothing to do with a USB drive. So that's unfortunate. That would have been pretty cool though, if they let you just like plug in a USB stick with videos on it and just play things that way. So you've got help opens up a web page, this opens up a web page. VidHD, you have to have the webcam, which we don't have. Obviously, we've got the Play Store, we've got Prime Time. I believe this was on the Sony device, I just didn't really look into it. So this, you have to sign in to, it says, the best place to find your favorite entertainment. It gets better at recommending new content you'll love. So this, you probably have to, yeah, sign into a Google account. There were 2 Google accounts on here. I just deleted them, obviously, to, you know, not show any personal info on here. And let's just check the version. So this is version 3.2. That would be, again, my guess of it would be the same as the Sony one. So this is Android. This is based on Android version 3.2 Honeycomb. The model number is just Revue. You've got a phone number this time, and there's a system tutorial, which I believe if we go through this, it'll just show. Yeah, so really the only difference is obviously it says welcome to Revue powered by Google TV, and it's got, you can see it has a image of the keyboard as opposed to the Sony controller. So there are changes that have been made, which makes sense. Like it wouldn't make sense to have the Sony controller or just any other controller but this keyboard, because obviously, like I said, this is a very unique controller to use with this TV. But honestly, it works if you're going to do a lot of web browsing on this. If you're just going to use this like to browse Netflix or Amazon Prime stuff where there's going to be like a interface designed for a TV, this doesn't really make much sense to have a keyboard. But obviously this had a heavy focus on web browsing. That was one of the huge things about Google TV, is it came with the Chrome web browser. You could browse the web right from your TV. And honestly, in my opinion, for $250, you're really not getting anything different than just plugging an old computer into your TV with an HDMI cable and getting a keyboard and trackpad combo unit to control it with. Obviously, the main thing is the interface. That's like the only thing that really differs this from plugging a computer into your TV. And obviously, a lot of other people felt the same way, because this thing, as I said, did not sell very well at all, and they had to drop the price to $99 from $250 in less than a year, which is just crazy. And kind of widening the lens a little bit here and taking a look at the Google TV platform as a whole, I think that's why the entire platform failed. Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. I think that obviously this hardware was very expensive to buy into. This was all first-gen hardware. You had a minimum price of $250 that you had to pay for this, and it didn't really offer anything that you couldn't get by just plugging a computer into your TV with an HDMI cable. So that's my take on Google TV, guys, and well, my take on the Logitech Revue. Hopefully you all enjoyed this one. A huge thank you to David once again for making this video possible by sending this out to me. I really appreciate it. And guys, stay tuned for new videos videos on this channel. I've got content coming every week. Follow me over on Twitter at MJDTweets for video updates. I usually post there a couple of times a week. I always tweet there before a new video goes out, so if you're really wanting to know exactly when videos go out, I usually publish at 2 p.m. Eastern on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, though that does vary occasionally. But if you appreciate this content, be sure to give it a thumbs up, be sure to get subscribed down below, and turn on those channel notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which I do multiple times every single week on this channel. And as always, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.